Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So today I'm here with a special guest, as you can see, my best friend Clara, and she's also my roommate. We came here to Seville together to teach English in local schools. This video is going to be about the pros and cons of living here in Seville. So what our opinions are, some differences we've noticed between life here and life in Seattle. So we hope you enjoy.
Firstly, we've only been here 2 months. Another thing is that we are living here during a global pandemic, which definitely changes the things we're able to do, the people we're able to meet, and our experience overall. So just some things to keep in mind when we're forming our opinions.
So let's get into the pros and cons of living here in Seville. The first pro that we want to talk about is the price of things here in Seville. Clara and I live in the city center in a 2-bedroom apartment. We have full amenities, a washer, and it's a pretty good sized apartment.
So we pay about 640 euros in rent, which converts to about $775 in rent per month. And that's a pretty good deal considering the prices in Seattle that we've heard.
The average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in the city center of Seattle is about $1,500 minimum. People can pay up to $1,800 or even $2,000 living in the city center.
And also some people are able to pay less than $1,000. However, there are people who have to live in a very large house, splitting with many roommates.
Groceries are a lot more affordable here. We go grocery shopping every week and we get an abundant amount of food and very good quality food for a very good price.
We spend about 100 euros and that translates to about $121 every week. So if you divide that by 2, it's pretty affordable.
Also, medical and dental procedures here in Seville are a lot more affordable than they are in Seattle. I'll be getting a root canal the coming week and it's about 240 euros here, which translates to about $290. In Seattle, I know that root canals are at least $1,500, which is an insane price. The second pro that we want to talk about is the fashion here. Some of the famous brands from here are Pull & Bear, Zara, Stradivarius.
Some other ones are Bershka, H&M, and Mango.
And the fashion here is a little bit more affordable, and I don't know if this can be said for all of the US or just for Seattle, but we have noticed that the prices here are better.
And from what we've seen, we would say that the overall style is trendy and put together.
So in our opinion, the fashion here in Seville is more of a pro because we like a more put together and fashionable look. In Seattle, it's more casual, it's more athletic wear, which is not bad. We just prefer to be a little more cute and put together.
For example, some brands you might see people wearing are Lululemon and North Face, more athletic-based brands. Definitely a lot of people wearing rain jackets always because it's always raining.
Sorry guys, we had to change backgrounds because the sun is shining very bright, so the lighting changed on us. So the overall style in Seattle is sporty, casual, with a touch of grunge. Another pro about life here in Seville is the safety. So it's a lot safer here, especially compared to Seattle.
Seattle has a pretty high crime rate given that it's a big city and it's also a very gentrified city. So there's a lot of wealthy companies that have come in and pushed a lot of communities out and created a lot of poverty. So there's a lot of need, which translate into crime.
So you do have to be a little bit more careful in Seattle, and that's different here. Here, it seems like you can walk around at any hour of the day at nighttime and feel safe and not feel in danger. In Seattle, that's not the same. I wouldn't go outside and walk around alone after 9 p.m. probably.
So because Seattle has been a hub really for gentrification, this has created a large homelessness issue. And unfortunately, there's very little support for these people for how big the problem is. And so the issue is really, really visible in the city. If you walk around, you can tell that it's a problem.
We have looked at statistics and it seems that homelessness is also an issue here in Seville, but it's not as visible, at least in the city center from what we have seen. Another pro for life in Seville is the weather. We arrived in fall and it was about 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which is very warm weather for us. That is about summer temperatures for us in Seattle.
Now it's winter and it's about 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, so pretty cold. Seattle is much colder in winter and is very rainy.
And in Seattle, we have long long winters and short summers. I know that here, July and August are almost unbearable due to the heat, but during the rest of the year, it's very pleasant and warm weather. So as you can see from this video, the sun hits very hard here. So if you're gonna come here, you should probably wear sunscreen. Another pro for life in Seville is the food. First of all, eating out here is a lot more affordable than in Seattle. Plus, there is a more evident food culture in the terms of traditional and national foods.
Another thing we noticed are that some of the ingredients seem to be fresher and of better quality. A lot of the local products seem to be more accessible in the price. In Seattle, if you try to find some local foods, usually in a farmer's market, some of the prices are very high. So unfortunately, we don't have that luxury.
So a con for Seville is the lack of diversity. In general, in the US, there are a lot more immigrant communities, especially in Seattle, and that hasn't been so evident for us here in Seville.
In Seattle, you can find many different types of food from different cultures, like Peruvian food, Japanese food, Korean, Chinese, Indian, the list goes on. But here, that diversity of food isn't as present. However, it may vary based on the area of Spain that you're in. For example, in Madrid, I did see more variety of food from different cultures. So it can depend on what city, what area you're in.
This is not necessarily a pro or a con, but it's just a cultural difference that we have noticed. There is a huge difference between the communication styles between our culture and the culture here. For example, in Seattle and in a lot of other parts of the US, people are often prone to sugarcoating, they're a little bit more politically correct, and sometimes passive-aggressive with their opinions.
And also, Seattle is famous for the Seattle freeze or the Seattle chill. It basically means people in Seattle are a little more individualistic and can be closed off to newcomers. And I've definitely experienced this because I'm originally from the Midwest. So I moved to Seattle many years ago, and I definitely felt that too.
Here, people are generally very open. They are also direct and straight to the point, and they're usually not afraid to share their opinions.
If you're coming from an American's perspective, you might get your feelings hurt a little, be a little offended, get caught off guard by some people, how they speak or act. So sometimes we've had some experiences here where we feel a little more sensitive because we are coming from a different cultural background.
Another difference that we have noticed is the difference between schedules here. The schedule here seems to be a little bit more relaxed. For example, most businesses are closed on Sundays, and they also take a break around 1 or 2 for la siesta or lunch. The last point that we want to talk about is the diversity of nature. It's a con for Seville because there's a lack of nature diversity, but of course it's a pro for Seattle. If you've seen my other videos, you know that Seattle has a lot of nature.
For example, El Parque María Luisa here is the main green area of Seville, and it's a beautiful park, but it's not exactly the same as all the greenery we have in Seattle.
Seattle is known for its mountains and lakes and forests and rivers. It exists here, but not nearly as much as Seattle, so that's something that we have been missing out on. So after 2 months of being here, those were just some of the first impressions that we have noticed about life here in Seville.
We're excited to see how our opinion keeps developing.
We really hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you have a question for us about our experiences here in Seville or any other ideas that you would like us to talk about in future videos, our Instagrams are linked down below, and we'll be happy to answer any questions for you in the comment section. So please comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for my next video.